Hey guys, it's Diane from Teach Pre-K. I've had a lot of questions over the past couple of weeks about how I run centers, and just a couple of specific questions about how I run centers. When I do my classroom setup, I will do another kind of in-depth um, video about how we do centers and how it all works in my classroom. It's hard for me to really show, but I will give you an overview of how I run centers. I can't get into my classroom for a couple of days because they're cleaning the carpets this week. But as soon as I get things set up and looking kind of functional, I'll be able to tell you a little bit more. But one of the things that somebody asked me was if I use a timer for teacher centers or for center rotations. I don't. I let centers be more child led because my mindset when it comes to teaching young children is yes, the letters and the vocabulary and the projects and all that is super important because they're little sponges and they learn so much. But them learning to function in a classroom, um, learning to follow rules and procedures, learning to socialize with friends, taking turns, using their words, going from parallel play to a more group play or playing with one or more people. That is the most important thing is that part. So, what I do the first week of school is my aide and myself. This is the way it goes for me. I have an aide that's with me every day. I have another aide who rotates between the classrooms and helps me get my 3-year-olds to the bathroom so I'm not leaving my room with just one teacher and 16 kids. Um, so for the first couple of weeks, that third person, I can't even plan for because they're my bathroom person and they're doing, um, helping the other class with the bathroom and with just making sure the kids are doing okay. If we have a child that's having an especially rough time adjusting, that aide is helping the teachers with that child. Or, I can only count on that teacher half time in my classroom anyway. So, what we will do, myself and my aide will split the class in two, and we will take the kids to our free choice centers and we will teach them how to play in those centers, how to play together, how to ask for a turn, how to share, how to use our necklaces to put them on and take them off and hang them up, how to play with the toys, some of the do's and don'ts with the toys. So, throwing, we've got to make another choice. Throwing is not okay. We need to be respectful. And we try to phrase everything in the positive. I just can't think that fast on my feet. I'm so out of practice. But so we take those groups to each center and we do a full, when you come to the center, this is what you do. Then these are the toys we're playing with today. And I change the toys at the block table. I keep dramatic play the same. I keep the sensory bin the same. But at the block table, I change it every day. So they learn how to play with like the big animals and the blocks, just the magnetiles, just the trains, what to do when there's only one Thomas and everybody wants Thomas, right? So it kind of helps them get used to that the first week. The second week, or maybe if they're catching on super quick and they're just a really easy group, I might add some teacher led centers. Like, I'll cover a big table with butcher paper and trace magnetic letters, and then they match letters. So I'll do an activity the whole group can do easily together and kind of teach them the rules and show them the name checkoff sheets and stuff with that too. So basically, in my classroom, aside from the teacher-led centers, I have blocks, dramatic play, and the sensory bin. I will also have a two-person center. Those three are four-people centers. I will have a two-person center that will be iPads or puzzles or quiet toys, kind of in my library area. My writing center can usually fit maybe three kids, but sometimes more want to join. So that can be up to four kids. And that will always be like colored pencils, paint sticks, stamp pads, markers, crayons, things to color, lots of paper, envelopes. I just keep it stocked with different things. There's always coloring sheets for the theme, but I'll keep it stocked with different things. And that's a free choice center. Books is a free choice center. So those are open for the kids to go to and move about the room as they like. There needs to be a necklace. I'm on a necklace system. Um, and I'll show you that each center will have their hooks and their little center necklaces. So if there's not a necklace for you, if there's not a chair open for you at a two-person center, you have to find someplace else to go. Or, you might ask somebody, hey, can I have your necklace? If somebody's been there for a long time, you might go to a teacher and say, hey, they've been there the whole time and I really want to play over there. And the teachers will help facilitate that. But they have all those free choice areas to go to. Teacher centers, like I told you, I always have one aide. So there's always two. Sometimes there's three. So this is, as the year goes on, the kids know the rules for the other centers. There will be three teacher-led centers like 2 days a week when I have that third aide. But so for, like I said, most days I have two, and we'll start that out maybe the third week of school, maybe the fourth. What I usually do is after they kind of get how to play in the independent centers, the free choice centers, we'll add one teacher choice center, and the other teacher will be floating around the room making sure that the kids are hanging up their necklaces, sharing, not grabbing toys, not pushing, not throwing, and just kind of keeping things really positive and giving gentle reminders about how you play in the centers. So the teacher centers, I'll take anywhere from 2 to 4 kids, depending on what it is. Um, the kids will come to that center. If it's a whole small group activity, we'll do it all at once, and then I'll get another group of 4 kids that come in, and I'll let the other ones go. Some centers, I bring in 4 kids, 2 of them might finish quickly. I'll bring 2 more in. Then, as those other ones finish, I'll grab 2 more. And then, as they leave my center, they just pick a free choice center to go to. When there's 2 teachers, we're both doing that. So, we might grab some kids that just finished the other center and said, hey, you're just done with that, come over here. Sometimes if they just get to the sensory bin or the block table or whatever, they'll say, I just got here, and I'll go, okay, 1 more minute. I'll give you 1 more minute. I always do that. It's usually more than a minute, but I always do that because I know they want that chance to play. And so I'll find somebody else who maybe has been at a free choice center longer and bring them into my center. Um, if I don't feel like the center is a super high priority center, like I'm not doing an assessment or a pre assessment, or it's not like an art project that I, want everyone to do because it's part of like a big bulletin board mural or something, and they really, really don't want to go, I don't make them go. I'm not going to force them to go. I'm not going to do that all the time. There's not going to be a kid that just never goes to the teacher centers. I'll gauge it. And I'll find ways to get them to want to come to my centers. I've never had a child just not want to come to the teacher centers for the whole year. Never, never, ever. It's been usually at the beginning, or they don't like paint because they don't want to get messy, or they don't like how it feels on their hands, something like that. So that's how I run centers. And I did use a timer when I first started because I was forced to. That is the way the other teacher ran her centers. And my principal thought it was a good idea. And I just eventually stopped using it because she saw that what I was doing worked really, really well. And we haven't used timers since. So it's been 14 years, no timers. Somebody also asked me, hey, do you do like one art center for the whole week or do you switch it up? So my art project or my craft centers, that is a teacher led center. Sometimes at my art table, if I'm not doing an art project that needs a teacher, I'll put materials out for the kids just to come over and do some art, like practice using the glue sticks and the glue and all that stuff. And that's one thing for you to keep in mind at the beginning of the year. You need to have centers to teach them how to do all that stuff. I have a whole center dedicated to putting lids on markers, a whole center dedicated to using liquid glue and how much we need. I show them, some kids have never ever used any of those materials before. So that is something you need to do at the beginning of the year. Once the kids have practiced with all that stuff and they know how to use that stuff, then I would put them out as just an art center, and that would be a free choice center. It wouldn't have necklaces. There would just be the chairs at the table, and anyone can join as long as there's a chair for them. But the projects usually only take one center time, which is usually 45 minutes to an hour. But so there are some projects that I can't get to all the kids. And if I think that that's even a possibility, I tell them at the very, very beginning that, hey, you might not come to this center today. If you don't come today, you'll come tomorrow. They will forget and be really sad that they didn't get to your center, and you just remind them you get to do this tomorrow. And then tomorrow, the kids that came the day before will be really sad that they're not coming to your center, even though they did the day before. But you just cross those bridges when you come to them. Somebody also asked me about volunteers. I used to have center volunteers so that every single day I had 3 people. So if there were, like, let's say Tuesdays and Thursdays, I didn't have that third aide that rotates through the classrooms. I would get parent volunteers. I'd have a sign up at the beginning of the year and either do it on a Sign Up Genius or a paper sign up. I would let them know at back to school night that that is your job. You find a sub. That is not my job to find a sub. I'm counting on you. But, emergencies happen and sometimes they wouldn't be able to make it and whatever. That was kind of one off situations. Weird thing that's happened though, I just have 2 income households for almost all of my kids. So the parents all work. When I first started, there was a lot more stay at home parents. There just aren't that many anymore, at least not at my school. So it's really, really, really hard to get parent volunteers. I will get parent volunteers for parties, and if there's ever any big projects or big events or something, I'll get parent volunteers for that. But I just try to run my classroom with no parent volunteers, with the teachers that I know I can count on. And it just helps me with lesson planning and planning my week and getting to that. You always plan with the end in mind, what you want the kids to know and know how to do at the end of the week or at the end of the unit. It just helps me know that I'm going to be able to reach my goals for them and for myself. So that is basically what I do. I think the timer system is horrible, mostly because it leaves some kids sitting at your centers going, I'm done. I have to sit here. Or you're like, the timer just rang and we're nowhere near finished with this project, or we didn't finish this game, or there are several kids who want to do this activity over and over again. So I just don't believe in timers. I don't feel like kids need a set amount of time at my center. I figure by the end of the year, everything ends up being sixes anyway. The kids figure out that some activities are super fun and they're super excited to go there. They know more, so they want to do more. Sometimes I just say, hey, dude, you're coming over here. You haven't done this one for a while. We got to practice these letters, or we've got to work on your name. You're coming over here. You've got kindergarten next year, whatever. But you've really just got to get in tune with your class, take things really slow, establish rules. Take as long as you need. Don't say, I'm going to take 2 weeks to establish procedures. Well, if they have it in a week, why use the second week? If they don't have it by the second week, you're doomed for the rest of the year. So make sure you're super, super flexible. You're dealing with very, very young kids. Nothing's going to go according to plan ever. Another thing that I do is I give center rules and procedures instructions for my free choice centers every single day. I change the centers on Fridays. So when the kids come on Monday, everything is different. It's all the same rules, but I tell them what to do with the different materials. At the sensory bin, I might have, you know, scissor scoops instead of just scoopy scoops. And I just make sure that I give the rundown of the rules, how we play with those toys. So every single day they get those reminders. The one day I forget or I'm in a hurry, I'll have chaos and I'll have rice all over the floor, or pom poms all over the floor from the sensory bin, or kids having a big fight over stuff in dramatic play. So the rules get briefer and briefer as the year goes on, as the week goes on, but little kids need reminders. And the one day that you don't tell them that throwing toys is not a choice in your classroom, they'll throw toys. Trust me. It just helps them to hear it every single day. So I hope that was helpful. When I get my classroom set up, you'll be able to see the necklaces, and you'll be able to see how I define the areas, the free choice things, some of the quiet toys and my little quiet areas that I have in my classroom a little bit better, so it might make a little bit more sense. And I think I've done some running center videos in the past, so you might want to go through some of those too, just to give you a better idea. But just make sure to be super patient and super loving and super kind to both your students, your aides, and yourself. If you don't have an aide, God bless you. Check your student to teacher ratios and childcare ratios for your state, because what your facility might be doing could be illegal and you need an aide. I don't think anyone should be with over like 6 young children and not have an aide. It's too much. If someone has a potty accident, you're out of commission. And what do the other kids do? It's a recipe for chaos. But thanks for listening today. Hopefully I'll be back tomorrow. Took a couple of days off from this getting ready for school series to enjoy my summer. So enjoy yours. Forgot one more thing. A couple of people asked if I just let the kids take anything off the shelves. I don't. I have specific things set out for the week. Like in my block center, there's a bunch of, other block materials there that are within reach of the kids on the shelves, and there's lots of puzzles and things like that. I just teach them from the very beginning when I'm going through how to play at the centers. We will get to play with all of these things, but not all at once and not today. We can play with the things on this table. The things on the shelves stay on the shelves. Now, during my mini center time, when the kids first come in and are having their little chat time, getting, used to being in class together and stuff, they might ask me if they can take some manipulatives out to play with the things that are on the table. I try to always have some kind of manipulative out with like building stuff so they can play with little animals and whatever. And those are right there at my math center. That's usually the table I use for that. But I teach them they need to ask. And some days I'll say yes, but some days I might say no, we have enough toys out right now. So they can ask if they can take the toys off those shelves. But I would say 8 times out of 10, they're going to get, no, we already have enough toys out. But I'll put that out for mini centers tomorrow, or I'll put that out for you next week. Okay, we'll play with that next week. So, and I will remember that because I know that's important. What I say to those kids is super important. So find ways to let them have what they want and not have complete chaos. So next week I'll put that out. But today We have so much stuff out. Your classroom will be absolute chaos if you just let kids start taking things off shelves. You will never get it cleaned up. They will not help you. That's just the way little kids are. And because they love just to have everything, I mean, you've seen them dump everything on the floor. And if you're a mom and you have a playroom, they kind of like to see everything out, all at once. Order is not usually their favorite thing. It's not how they play and it's not how they function. So, just to avoid all that, I teach them from the get go not to do that. Um, it's not always easy, but they just need gentle reminders. And that's why you never just jump into centers that first or second week. And you always have someone monitoring and giving those gentle reminders until you know they know. Once they know, they're good to go. You don't have to worry about it for the rest of the year. Okay, so sorry, I forgot about that. This is making this video so long. Thanks so much.